So, you know, I wanted to read a testimony from Sola Chad. Now, this is a guy who I saw on X. Here he is. This dude has a testimony, guys. He has a testimony. What is a testimony? It's his story of how he came to the faith, all right? Now, it's a little bit long. I grew up in a small military town in South Alabama, regular kid, regular family. We went to church some, but we weren't committed. At 12 years old, I heard a fiery sermon, walked the aisle, and repeated a prayer. Got baptized and thought I was right with God. Isn't that how it always is? That's how it starts, though. It's a good step. It's a good step. The church I attended was very legalistic, very mostly unloving. Unfortunately, a lot of churches can be that way. I can't recall ever hearing the gospel, but that could have been because theologically I wasn't able to hear it. I was, by most standards, a good kid. Okay. Then he says, straight A's, excelled in sports, held down 2 jobs all through high school. My first job was TGI Fridays busboy. 16 years old. That was a good job, though. Once I graduated, things went downhill quickly. We hadn't been in church regularly for a couple of years. The college I wanted didn't want me. The girl I wanted didn't want me. The life I wanted didn't want me. I was angry, mostly at God, and I did all the right things. So why wasn't God working things out the way I wanted him to? My parents were trying as best they knew how to get me to see me that I had a bright future. I did so with some tough love. My immature, prideful heart saw it as them somehow making decisions for me. I left their house after failing out of my first semester in college and fractured our relationship for years. I almost immediately started drinking, followed by smoking weed and taking pills. It was a release, but it wasn't what I wanted. Then I tried cocaine. I was hooked. Of course, you're going to be hooked after you try cocaine. I've never tried cocaine, but a lot of frat brothers of mine had cocaine, and it's not a good idea, guys. Don't try cocaine. The whole thing about you only live once, YOLO stuff. Don't do stuff like that just because you want to try it once. After 8 months of everyday cocaine abuse, my girlfriend confronted me about it and how I was stealing to support my habit. I confessed and begged for help. 4 days later, her dad introduced me to crystal meth. I spent the next 7 years addicted to meth. 7 years addicted to meth. Wow. In a moment of clarity about 3 years in, I wanted out and decided to join the military. I did well in basic and tech training and felt like my old self again. I ended up getting stationed out west in a big city. The party scene soon pulled me in, and I started back on meth and ecstasy and alcohol. My wife, same girl I mentioned earlier, partied with me but resisted falling back into the scene. She couldn't understand why I was doing drugs again. We ended up divorcing, and I fell even deeper in with some gangs in the city. I was eventually investigated by AFOSI for multiple crimes, including distribution of methamphetamines and on government installations. By the grace of God, they couldn't amount enough evidence to court-martial me, but I was given a general discharge. Once I got out, I hit rock bottom very quickly. Within months, I was homeless. Called my parents, asked if I could come home. They agreed, but told me there's only one condition, was that I had to attend church with them. They found a loving church a couple years prior, and my mom had been praying for me daily for 2 years. The people there loved on me and encouraged me to read the Bible. I did, and I began to fall in love with it. I began praying and communicating with the Creator. One night, while reading the accounts of the death of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel, I began crying hysterically. I couldn't believe what they'd done to my Savior. The scales were gone, meaning scales that fall from your eyes. My heart was no longer stone, but now flesh. I was his. I became a child of God. This guy is awesome. Where's the camera? There it is. Can you see that? This guy is called Sola Chad, Sola Chad, and he's on X. Give him a follow. This guy has a awesome testimony, and you guys should share it too. This thing is dripping in my eyes right now. Hang on, guys. We're gonna hit another set. By the way, call on the show 313-591-0290. Share your thoughts, and bring up any questions, anything you want to talk about. Really, we're gonna play some chill music and hit another set of these biceps. Let's do it. I like those. Nice and slow.